Hey guys, it's January 1st, 2026, and I want to start with something that sounds simple but explains almost everything people are feeling right now. The job market isn't broken, it's just frozen. People are working, companies are still making a lot of money, the economy isn't in free fall by any measure, but at the same time, hiring feels dead. Quitting feels dangerous, and a lot of people feel stuck in jobs that they don't love but are afraid to leave. If that sounds familiar, you're not imagining things or hallucinating. What we're living through right now is a very specific moment in economic history, and it doesn't feel like past recessions or past booms. It feels quieter, tenser, like everyone is holding their breath at the same time. There are three big forces shaping the 2026 job market, and once you see them clearly, the confusion starts to make sense. The first thing to understand is that the job market looks healthier on paper than it feels in real life. Right now, unemployment is sitting around 4.5%. That number used to mean something very different. Years ago, 4 or 5% unemployment was considered quote unquote full employment. It suggested a strong, balanced labor market. But in 2026, that number is misleading and very deceiving. Because a healthy job market isn't just about how many people have jobs, it's also about movement. It's about people leaving jobs, finding better ones, getting raises, changing roles, and creating openings behind them. That movement has slowed to a crawl. Job growth over the past year has barely kept up with population growth. In practical terms, that means the economy is adding just enough jobs to avoid going backward, but nowhere near enough to create opportunity. People aren't getting laid off in massive waves, but they also aren't getting hired. They're not switching jobs, they're not taking risks. So instead of a revolving door, the labor market feels like a locked room. You can be employed and still feel trapped. You can be qualified and still hear nothing back. You can do everything right and still feel like you're standing still. That's why this moment feels worse than the number suggests. Stability without mobility doesn't feel like security, it feels like suspense. The second thing shaping 2026 is that companies have fundamentally changed how they think about hiring. For the longest time, growth and hiring were tied together. If a company grew, it hired. If revenue went up, headcount followed. That relationship has broken into pieces and tatters. As we enter 2026, most large firms aren't planning to grow their teams. Roughly 2 out of 3 employers are choosing to keep their headcount flat or even slightly smaller, even if business conditions improve. That's not because they expect a crash, it's because their incentives have changed. Over the past few years, companies learned that hiring too aggressively creates long term risk. Layoffs damage morale, reputation, and investor confidence. Training new employees is expensive, And when someone is hired, it's really hard to undo that decision cleanly. Simultaneously, technology has given companies something that they didn't have before, which is optionality. Instead of hiring now, they can wait. They can stretch existing teams, they can automate parts of the workload, they can delay decisions quarter after quarter. So hiring has become the last resort instead of the first move. This creates a quiet freeze. Job openings don't appear overnight, they just stop appearing. Approval processes get longer, roles get reevaluated, teams are told to hold off for now. Multiply that mindset across thousands of companies, and the entire labor market slows down without any dramatic events. And this connects directly to the third force shaping 2026, which is the most misunderstood one. Technology is not wiping out jobs overnight. What it's doing is wiping out the need to hire. This is an important distinction. Most companies are not replacing entire departments with machines. What they're doing is using software and automation to increase output per worker. For example, if a team of 5 can now do the work that used to require 8, the company doesn't fire 3 people, it simply never hires them. That's why so many white collar fields feel frozen right now. Roles like in software, data, marketing, media, corporate operations have seen job postings fall sharply compared to a few years back, even though demand for output hasn't collapsed at all. The work still exists, it's just being absorbed differently. And this also explains a subtle but powerful change happening across the organizations. In the past, when someone quit, their job was reposted. That backfilling process kept the job market liquid. In 2026, backfilling is disappearing. Someone leaves, their tasks get redistributed, software handles the repeated parts, and the role quietly vanishes. No announcement, no headline, just one less opportunity in the system. At the same time, workers feel this shift and they respond rationally, they don't quit. Voluntary job switching has fallen to extremely low levels in many fields and industries. People are staying not because they're satisfied, but because uncertainty makes risk feel dangerous. When nobody quits, there are no openings. When there are no openings, hiring freeze reinforces themselves. This is what creates the feeling that everything is stuck. It's why you hear two completely different stories at the same time. Some people say no one is hiring anywhere anymore. Others say we can't find workers. Both are true. The 2026 job market is split. White collar, digital, easily scalable work is oversupplied. Competition is intense, cutthroat. Silence is common. Meanwhile, physical, regulated, human dependent work is understaffed, like healthcare, construction, infrastructure, and skilled trades that continue to need people because those jobs can be easily automated or delayed. You can use software to analyze data faster. You can't automate, bedside care or rebuild a bridge. This split is quietly reshaping what job security looks like. Prestige is giving way to stability. Flexibility is being traded for uncertainty. And this brings us to the emotional reality of 2026. This moment is harder than a recession for many people because it's unclear. Recessions are loud. Everyone knows what's happening. There's a shared narrative. What we have now is silence. You're employed but anxious. Your company is profitable but cautious. The future isn't bad, it's just undefined. That uncertainty drains people. It creates burnout without change, effort without reward, waiting without timelines. So if you feel tired, if you feel stuck, frustrated right now, that reaction makes sense. The most important thing to understand is this pause won't last forever. You cannot freeze hiring indefinitely while the economy grows. Eventually, the pressure builds, work accumulates, something has to give. But when that shift comes, the market won't return to what it used to be. The people who benefit won't be the ones who waited for normal to come back. They'll be the ones who adapted during the stillness. In 2026, job security doesn't come from titles. It doesn't come from loyalty. It comes from leverage. From being the person who can run systems, manage complexity, and make decisions that technology can replace. If you're employed right now, this is the year to build that leverage quietly. If you're job hunting, don't internalize the silence. It's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of a frozen system. The job market isn't broken, it just paused. And how you move during this pause will matter long after it ends. Peace out.